JT Daniels is not cleared yet. JT Daniels is coming off an ACL surgery as well. He's been able to take some reps. He's been able to throw the ball and do some things, but he's not completely cleared from the knee yet, and he'll still be in a brace for that. Broderick Jones had an injury, non-football injury, but he's recovered from that. He's back out taking snaps and taking reps and has been with us working. Jamie Newman had a mid-foot sprain and was out for a little bit of our summer access period. We're calling it a mini camp, whatever, OTAs, whatever you want to reference it as. He missed probably half of that, not able to work out and do some things, but he was mentally there and able to do a lot of things with the team, and he's back now, able to do everything. So DeJuan's doing a great job. Carson Beck's doing a great job. So is Stetson's doing a really good job. All those guys are really competing, as well as JT. And I think each one has come in, and they all have individual strengths. It's going to be important that we find out what each one of those individual strengths are and weaknesses, and what we can improve over the next 4 to 5 weeks to figure out who the best guy for the job is. No, we didn't actively recruit him coming out. I can't say that we didn't have I didn't have active contact with him, but sometimes the position coaches are recruiting a bigger pool than I am. So he committed pretty quick to USC and didn't really go through the recruiting process as long. So we didn't have a deep relationship there of any kind. But when he became available, he went in the portal and we reached out and he returned favor and said he would be interested. And we communicated for a while, for a long time, not knowing which direction we were headed. We once COVID started, we didn't really know what was going on. So it was one of those deals that we didn't know what we were going to have in our quarterback room. We didn't know if we were going to have 2 guys remain and be here, or if somebody was going to leave. And I'm a big believer in getting the best people on the team you can get, and you have competition, and competition, iron sharpens iron. And that room's going to be really competitive, and we're excited to see where it goes. It's a competitive room, and those guys, each one of them, has been in a competitive room before. Look, Jamie competed at Wake Forest. JT had to compete where he was. Carson is going to be in one of the most competitive rooms he's ever been in. DeJuan was in the room last year. Stetson's been a part of that. Competition is part of the process. Going back to your quarterback question, I'm pretty sure we had every quarterback go with the ones at one time. I don't think Stetson got to go with the ones. Stetson did a good job in the groups he did go with. Jamie operated with the ones, and JT operated with the ones. And then DeJuan got a red area series with the ones as well. But the reps came out pretty balanced. Other than Stetson had a little bit fewer because we had seen Stetson a lot more. We know a lot more about Stetson in terms of his time spent with us last year. JT is not cleared still. I know y'all think he's cleared, or what you think of as cleared, but cleared to me is I can go out and play a full game of tackle football. So yeah, he gets to scrimmage, but he doesn't. He wouldn't be cleared for a game in terms of contact yet. So that factors in the decision that Carson Beck didn't get to go in the spring. DeJuan Mathis, a kid who really needed those reps in the spring, didn't get to go. Jamie didn't get to have spring practice, and JT wasn't here. So then when I say behind, I'm really talking from that perspective. Nobody has really just taken charge and taken over. I wish I could say that. Both JT went with the ones today, and DeJuan went with the ones. Carson went with the twos a lot, and then JT and DeJuan both went with the twos a little bit, and then Stetson went with the threes. But we don't have a guy that's way ahead, and I don't know what to say other than we're going to keep competing, and we're going to try to find the best one. First one on JT, I am under the assumption that's going to happen, but that is not my decision. Obviously, that's the medical decision, and he's cleared to practice, which for quarterbacks is unique because they're not out there getting hit every day. They're non-contact. So we expect him to be cleared by the first game, but that's not a complete certainty. I know Ron feels confident that he's far enough post-op and he's got enough strength in his leg to be in a good position to be able to play. But that's going to boil down to Ron and our doctors making that call. Yeah, I don't know that we're getting a full read ever. We're not getting a full read on any of them. I mean, DeJuan steps up to scramble today, and you're having to make a determination of did he get sacked or did he not. That's really never fair. And the only way to make it fair is to make it live. And that's a tougher decision, and it's a decision that we've actually thought more about this year than we ever have before. But both JT himself, Carson, they have mobility. I mean, even JT's got some mobility with the knee brace on. But DeJuan certainly is ahead of them in regards to that. So it's a hard measuring stick because you're trying to judge whether the guy was down or not down. Did he break the tackle? Did he not break the tackle? So no, you're not getting a full exposure to what you would like. The only way you're going to get that is A, scrimmage live, or B, play a game. And the game is next in line for us outside of some other practices to get better. Yeah, JT is not completely cleared yet. He is practicing with us, as he's been doing. And if we didn't think he was going to be cleared, then we wouldn't be practicing him. But he's continuing to practice, and so is Dewan, Carson, and Stetson. And as far as we can tell, it'll probably be a game-time decision. Be tackled, be able to be hit, and that's a medical decision, which is usually based on the interesting thing on JT, I don't know that everybody understands, is he's post-op a lot further than most ACLs. So post his surgery fixing it, but he had a repair done, I want to say it was December or January. He had to go in and do some other things to help fix it from the original surgery, and that was before we even really knew about him or were with him, but that put him behind a little bit. So the part about him getting cleared, we certainly expect him to get cleared and think he will get cleared, but that's not my decision. That goes a lot into Ron and them. It goes into flexibility. It goes into strength. How far is the left knee from the right knee? What is the girth of the knee? What is the muscle mass missing? There's a lot of things that go into that the doctors have to do to clear him medically to take hits and be able to play. Yeah, we hope JT will be cleared by Saturday officially. Yeah, I'm excited about the guys that have competed. They've all done a good job. They've all taken reps. Stetson, Carson, JT, and Dewan have all done a good job, and excited to see those guys go out and play. I think he's done a great job preparing, and so has Carson, Stetson, and JT. They really all have done a good job preparing for this moment, and I feel comfortable with all those guys. He can factor in as soon as he gets cleared, and I think he's got a lot of confidence as well. And when you say the two most experienced guys, probably JT and Stetson in terms of having played football games. JT will be cleared, but I don't know how much that changes the picture in terms of reps and development. We'll be looking at everybody across the board. JT's got to be able to show us that he can function efficiently and do it with his knee being able to do it. We always thought he would be cleared by this time anyway, but those guys will all compete, as well as Carson will too, and continue to grow at the quarterback position. Well, Ron would have to explain that in depth. We're looking for percentage, strength index, biodex, testing, girth, his knee being closer to the same size as the other one. They do a single leg hop test. They measure his ability to move around on that knee compared to his other knee, and they've been looking for certain barometers to be able to hit that number, and he was able to do that. So that's very fortunate for him. But he's still got to be able to go out there and prove to us that he can do it in the game-like situations, in the practice-like situations, and that's not easy to do during the week at times. Yeah, he's an extremely bright kid, delightful to be around, very intellectual. I mean, he asks a lot of questions, and he digs deep into the game. The game's really important to him. It's fun to be around. He gets the ball out really quick. He's got a quick release and a great arm talent. So he's doing a good job. He's out there working, and I mean, for us, it's not really different than it was before. He was practicing before, so he's just practicing more now.
Coach, just one quick follow-up about JT. Obviously, he traveled to Arkansas last week and wasn't clear. What was the decision made to let him go to that game last week?
The hopes that he would be cleared. I think you have to take that into consideration when you're talking about JT, Carson Beck, and Dewan, who are all talented in their own right. I mean, they were talented football players. But Stetson taking every single rep with the twos the entire year last year has an effect. And I know it's not the same offense, but it's the same defenses. It's the same preparation. It's just a different word. Carson, JT, Dewan, whether they're throwing 7-on-7 against the Scouts, whether they're throwing against us on defense, whether they're getting reps over there with the offense, they're going to continue to be developed because that's what they came here to do, and we want them part of the game plan. This week, we'll get to get a lot of guys reps. JT will get reps. Dewan will get reps. Stetson's going to continue to get reps. I mean, we try to develop our roster, and it's the way we look at it. So it doesn't change. It just gives us a chance to give more guys work and see where they are in their progress. And that's true at every position, including quarterback.
Yeah, JT's going out each day, working. I think his mobility's getting better as time goes through, and he's moving around. He's taking a lot of reps and growing, and he's competing just like DeJuan is and Carson is.
The only physical limitations are still, would be coming off the knee, which he hasn't shown a lot of ailments coming off the knee. I mean, he's been out of the brace. He's been able to throw the ball. He's done a good job. He actually comes down and throws on the scout team and competes and does a really nice job down there with us. Again, the decisions we make as coaches are decisions we have to make. They're tough decisions, no different than they are at who plays corner and who plays tackle. And there's a lot of really good competitions out there going on. And ultimately, we feel like Stetson gives us the best chance to win right now. And, DeJuan gets a lot of work, a lot of reps, and competes really hard at that. It continues to improve and shows us that he's the better guy, that he would be the guy up. Same thing with JT. JT probably doesn't get as many opportunities as Stetson does and DeJuan does because he works down there with us some on the scout team. But, at the end of the day, guys, the decision has to be made by us. It gives us the best chance to win, and we do that based on the total body of work, and those are decisions that have to be made. He wants an opportunity to get in and compete, and we gave he and JT a lot of reps during the off week, and we'll continue to give as many guys as we can get ready reps to grow those guys and get them ready to play.
Yeah, right now we feel like the other two give us a better shot because they've gotten more of a body of work. I don't think necessarily that he has anything with his knee. He doesn't wear knee braces anymore. He reps. He takes reps with the scouts and moves around and gives us a really good look. And I think he's still growing and getting better in the offense. But obviously, right now, where we are, we feel like those two guys give us the best shot.
So when you recruited JT, was he recruited to be a backup, or what was the thought process recruiting him?
As far as JT, we recruited every player the same for an opportunity to come in and get better and compete and play. And he got an opportunity to do that in fall camp. He actually got a lot more reps than Stetson did. Stetson didn't get many reps in fall camp. So he took a ton of reps during that time, and so did DeJuan. And that's the way we did our scrimmages all along.
And we're going to get all three of those guys ready. And the one that does the best job will be ready to play. And yeah, he's going to get reps. He's going to get work because, again, we just talked about Stetson. I don't know if he's going to be there or not, So he's gotten – but the great thing about JT is he begged to go down to the scout team to get work when he wasn't early on. He wanted to go down and compete and throw and get better against our defense. So it's not like he's been sitting on the shelf not getting many throws. He's been getting a lot of those. Well, JT, down the scout team, it's like Stetson when he was down there before. Sometimes you get to do things without risk reward because your job down there is to get the ball in the air, throw the ball, service the team, give a good look. And he doesn't. He's not down there all the time. We have Priestley and Jackson Muschamp who do a good job as well. JT likes to go down there and compete and get to throw some, so he spends time with our offense. He's in all the meetings with our offense, and he goes down there and throws every now and then. But JT's got a good arm. There's no doubt about that. And it's one of those deals. He's getting better and better every day with mobility, and you feel good that he's able to move around and do some things down there with us. And again, he's going to get some reps with Stetson out and find out where it is. As far as the quarterbacks, all I'm going to say is that they're all out there. They're doing a really good job. Stetson hasn't been able to throw, but those guys are working really hard. Carson's gotten work. JT's gotten work, and DeJuan's gotten work. I think that I've seen that he's got a quick release. I mean, which I see that every day anyway because he was with us on the scouts. You know what I mean? He's got good command and presence, meaning he understands the offense in terms of timing, communication, snap count, motions, all the things that you want a quarterback to be able to do. He does a good job of that. You can't really judge mobility in our practices, unfortunately, because it's not real. There's no way I can't go out there and go live tackle. I mean, that's not something I can do. So you don't get a clean picture from the scouts because sometimes they're not talented enough to rush the passer and give you the look. The best periods we have are when we go against each other, and we've only had a few of those. We don't do that on Monday, and we did it a little bit today. So it's hard to answer that question with 2 days body of work for really any of those three guys. Yeah, you just try to make the best decision you can to give your team an opportunity to win, and that's what we try to do in all our decisions, regardless of quarterback or not. I mean, running backs don't get tackled in practice either. They get hit, but they don't get tackled. So, I mean, you have to put the best guys out there that give you the best opportunity to win, and that's what we've always done. And he and DeJuan and JT and Carson all got work. Well, he hasn't always worked with the ones, so I don't know where you would speculate that from. But his mobility's been better. He's very bright. He understands things. He's very attentive in meetings. Asks a lot of really smart questions. Always into the X's and O's. He's very intrigued by the other team's defense. And every week they get tests, and each week of the season he takes the test and does it as good as anybody. Not knowing if he's getting snaps or not. He's done a tremendous job of understanding the teams. I mean, he comes down there with us, and gets scout team reps, and he still knows what the other team's defense is doing. So he takes a lot of pride in that part of it.
In terms of JT, since he's been here, he's done some nice things. He's a guy that's worked really hard, just as Stetson, Carson, and DeWan have done. And I'm pleased with the way he's worked. I'm pleased with the way he's rehabbed his knee and improved his knee and learning of our offense. And the leadership he's shown since he arrived has been very good. I mean, he's when you're in a room of guys without a lot of experience, he's a guy that has some experience.
No, I don't think so. I think the sample size we had on JT early, which we didn't have a large sample size on anybody, but we had he took predominantly more one reps, he and DeWan, during fall camp. And his mobility and decision making wasn't great in that fall camp period. During those 2-3 scrimmages, we gave him a lot of reps, and so we had to go direction with somebody. We had to get somebody ready to play, and we felt like the mobility and being able to have a running quarterback, which helps your run game when you have a running quarterback, would help you. And things changed obviously in the Arkansas game. So then we moved on to Stetson, and thought Stetson did a really good job through probably halftime of Alabama. And from the Alabama game on, during the off week, is when we gave the most looks and the most reps to JT, and felt like Stetson was the best answer at the time. And he played, the kid played pretty good against Florida without George Pickens until he took the shot. And when he took the shot on the arm on the 3rd and 8, he threw the touchdown. It kind of all went downhill from there. But I want to say this. Let's don't make the discussion all about that. Let's make the discussion about how well JT handled it in a world when nobody handles things very well and they don't get what they want. What he did is he said, "Coach, I want to come down to the scouts and I want to throw and I want to be part of the game plan." And he came down in front of me and went every day against what I think is a pretty good defense. And he knew he was going to get hit, but he made plays. He moved around in the pocket, and he started showing us that, hey, I can do this thing. And he took the bull by the horns, and he took advantage of it tonight. And Mississippi State played us to stop the run too, and took a lot of chances, and he took advantage of that. I'm thinking that, he's going to have to throw it in the game, but, we needed to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to run the ball to help him, and we couldn't run it anywhere the way they were playing us. And he's 28 of 30. I think it's 28 of 38 maybe. I'm not sure if that's exactly right, but I know that, and the thing about the drops, he had a couple drops where guys drop balls and affected that. But we've known he throws a nice deep ball. Now you saw that tonight. He puts air under it. He lets them run up under it. But he had the Kyrus drop for a touchdown, the George drop for a touchdown, which I think we made up for with a touchdown. But then we had Zamir. He threw one a little high over Zamir's head. But those are 3 completions, and I don't even know the rest of them. So I thought his accuracy was really good, and he even showed some quickness and some mobility in there when we missed some guys. That was probably the toughest part protection wise. We missed a couple guys that he could have either redirected the protection or done some things, but it definitely got better every week. And it really, when I noticed it, was when he was down there with us, because he had a big knee brace on fall camp. We're investing reps in him, and we're out there doing 8 plays of 3rd down and blitzing everywhere, and he can't move, and it's tough to execute in that environment. And it was tough on him. And, there's plays that Stetson and DeWan made, like Stetson against Florida. He pulls the ball one time, I don't know, early in the game, he ran for like 10 yards. That's not going to be JT's game, but JT's a good enough athlete. When we talked to him coming out of high school, he said, "I run a 4.69." Well, he's a good athlete, but he's coming off an ACL surgery, so we don't know how long it's going to take to get that. But when he's got a clean pocket, he's really at his best. And I thought Mississippi State, their plan was to pressure on 3rd down because of that. They didn't want a clean pocket. They wanted that guy to have to move around, and we picked most of it up and allowed him to stand in there and make some throws. But he certainly got better. The toughest part was having to make a decision who you're going to go with when he's not cleared. And then when he is cleared, it's like, okay, this guy hasn't taken the reps for 2 weeks for the Arkansas game or the next game. And the best look he got was probably the off week before Kentucky was the time he started getting more and more reps. Yeah, I don't think it wasn't JT. It's how they were playing us, right? He gets the ball vertical. He gives guys a chance one-on-one. And to be honest, we had our complete wide receiver core, all out there, and it makes it tougher to defend you when you've got those weapons. And he was accurate. And the one thing we said we had to be at that position was accurate.
Fair to assume that JT is your quarterback now going forward?
Yeah, I would say it's fair to assume that based on the way he played tonight, and he'll need to continue to work hard and do the things he's done in order to stay in that position. But he certainly showed poise and confidence and did some good things, not only in the passing game, but in the check game. Yeah, we had conversations with him the Sunday after the Florida game, and he was very adamant that he was confident in his knee, that he was ready to go, that he could make the throws and make the decision making and do all the things that we weren't getting done in terms of accuracy. And he has extreme confidence in himself, which is what you want in that position. Because if you don't and you doubt yourself, it's really hard. He did a good job, I thought, working the receivers, making them believe too that he was going to get them the ball and make plays and re-energize that group, which is really important. In terms of run game, outside of the quarterback running the ball, the run game is our run game. So it's not like he has to go win over the backs. He's got to win over the O-line with protection checks and putting us in the right run game stuff. But I thought his approach the last couple of weeks, every time I talked to him, he was watching tape of the opponent. He had watched a ton of tape on Missouri and was ready for that game. And then, it got postponed. So he ended up getting a lot of work throughout that time and did a good job with it.
But can you understand why people would look at this game and think, why wasn't this guy starting earlier?
Absolutely, I would. But I also think that people should take into consideration that, I've been coaching football for, I don't know how many years, 20, 25 years, and God knows Monken's probably double me, as old as he is. And there's not a decision that we make as coaches and a coaching staff, an offensive staff with 5 guys that I adore and think the world of. Maybe the question should be, man, aren't they glad they got JT here when nobody thought that maybe we needed him? Would I have loved for him to gone out there and done the same thing against other teams? Absolutely. But the decisions we made based on giving us the best opportunity to win. And a lot of that had to do with mobility and Stetson's play. And as that struggled, we had to look for other options. And he did a great job with his opportunity. He also had some help in the receivers that came back and the way Mississippi State played them. But I don't want to use that to put, to demean how he played. He played unbelievable. I am proud as hell of the way he played. But every decision we make is based on what gives us the best opportunity to win the game. And the men in that room that are making those decisions, they've got a lot of experience doing it.
I think with any player that's relatively young in terms of their career, there's always a lot of room for improvement. I think in terms of protections and understanding where Trey's got things going and where he's pointed things, getting that correct, that comes through experience. And it comes through film evaluation, making sure that we got the right guys on the right guys in terms of where pressure's coming from. In terms of his eyes in certain routes, there were a couple things that he had his eyes on the wrong side, but he threw the ball well. He was very accurate. He protected the ball, made good decisions with the ball, and had the one probably errant throw that went off the hands of the defender early in the game, and that may have just come from the rust of not playing. A lot of times you got to get out there and play, but certainly he can grow and get better. He understands that as well as our other guys. You have to grow and get better in order to move forward, and that's what we all need to do. Yeah, I don't know that you know that right now. I mean, it's you see him make good throws. I think his mobility is not going to do anything but hopefully improve his decision making, and the things the people around him got to play well. He's got to get a run game around him to help him in order to reach his full potential and things like that. Yeah, I mean, he came out feeling. He didn't take many hits. I mean, you think about it, playing quarterback in a game is not a lot different than playing it in practice, other than when you get tackled or hit. I think he took one really good shot on one of the deep balls, but it didn't affect his knee. He did a good job. One time protection broke down. He got down and, he took the sack. He didn't avoid it. He didn't get rid of the ball, but he didn't turn the ball over. And that, like I said before, we have good pass protectors. We have to do a good job protecting him. He's got to use his mobility in the pocket, which he did one time. He spun out of trouble and made a throw downfield to George. So he did some nice things there. But in terms of soreness, no, he was fine. I had the same game plans we really had with the other quarterbacks in terms of, I think everybody likes to make a big deal, especially in the media profession, of how much is quarterback control and how much is offensive court. The game plan is set up to where you have run checks, you have pass checks, you have flexibility on protections to redirect things. Nobody really is different in college football in terms of that. Some quarterbacks can handle more than others, and JT is not going to be, we're not going to be limited by what JT can do. We'll be limited by what we can do with our offensive line, our tight ends, our receivers, and backs, because for everything you do with JT, they have to be able to do as well. And you can't rep 100 different checks every week. So JT understands our system. He's got flexibility to do some things in certain calls, and then in other calls he doesn't. It just depends on how the game's going. If you're running the ball for 8 yards a clip, you don't need to attach an RPO. If you aren't running the ball for a lot, then you put the decision in the quarterback's hands and sometimes give him more flexibility. But that's all based off how the game's going and how the game plan's set, and JT's certainly fine with that. And then, JT's made some really good throws. We won some 50-50 balls. And JT was a beneficiary of some of that growth. So he got the good end of where Jermaine's kind of at his best, and his best is still ahead. Well, I think the verdict's still out on that. I mean, I think the sample size we have is small, but the sample size that we have, meaning coaches in practice, we get to see him each and every day. You got to remember, I mean, we've seen this guy go with the ones for longer than everybody else has, because he practiced the Missouri week the whole time there. So, I mean, I've seen him make some good plays. I've seen him make good decisions. I mean, he had some really good plays today, and we go good on good and compete on third down. He moved in the pocket, made some plays, and the biggest improvement he's made is in the pocket awareness, and that's where his best decisions have to come. But as far as a transformation or anything like that, I don't know. We got to find ways to run the ball, and that's probably the most important thing to me, so that we can be explosive both ways.
I did a good job. He took the things the defense gave to him. He made some good throws. He understands protections. He knows what covers they're in. He did what we asked him to do. And, I thought the one ball to Jermaine on the wheel down our sideline was the one I wish he could have back. I think he underthrew it a little bit, and Jermaine may have still been able to catch it, but I thought he played well. He understands what we're trying to do, and he did a good job handling the offense.
There's two combinations. JT is throwing the ball and throwing it accurately, which is helping. And there was tough conditions today to throw it in. Everyone is playing in Coach Monken's system for the, I don't know, was that ninth game? So the ninth game. And the freshmen are growing up. So I have said repeatedly, JT is doing a tremendous job. I'm not going to take anything away from JT and what he's doing, but I'm also going to recognize that George Pickens being healthy, Warren McClendon being an older tackle, Jermaine Burton growing up, Darnell Washington growing up. I mean, there's so many factors. They're hearing plays and concepts for the 50th time instead of the 5th time. And JT's got a lot of confidence in him, but JT's got a lot of confidence in Jermaine, Trey McKitty, Kieris. We got to get the other guys to come along with that too and be able to help out. We told JT it's either a shot out of bounds or throw a completion in the flat. And JT made a good decision. Threw the ball. I would have loved it if he'd hit it probably a little flatter. He might have got Jermaine for a touchdown, but they took a chance, and we wanted to take a chance if they were going to max blitz us. But yeah, I felt comfortable. That's within Pod's range. Pod came and told me before the game he felt good around 37. So I think we were inside 37 at that time.